Hi, hopefully my internet works this time. I tried this yesterday at work on my lunch break. This is kind of fun. I've never used one of these little filter things. I felt like this one was kind of fall and Thanksgiving-y, and we're about that time now. But I tried to go on my lunch break yesterday, and it kind of worked for a little bit. Kind of kept cutting out. I was surprised. I was downtown, thought it would work. But turns out there's Wi-Fi settings that kind of turns on, so I had to turn it off. But oh look, there's somebody on. Hi, Rochelle. Cool. I can say hi to people because it's working now. So I'll just get started because I know everyone's got limited time in the evenings. There's all this crazy chaos of life. But the topic I'm going to talk about is something that I kind of struggled with for a really long time, and it was really mainly due to a few simple things, honestly. You think it's so crazy and hectic to be able to do this, but once you figure out a few simple things, it really does seem to work a lot better. So I'll start off by introducing myself. I'm a working mom. I have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, and I have a stay-at-home husband with chronic pain. He had too much lower back pain to keep working, so for about a year and a half, he stayed home and watched the kids, and he was just getting more and more pain, and he was having a hard time watching them, so he confided to me that he just couldn't do it anymore. He was too angry, he was yelling, he was kind of afraid of himself. So obviously I had to put the kids in daycare to give him a chance to work on things and get himself figured out. But between diet changes, like removing gluten and processed stuff, and stretching and strengthening exercises, and oily stuff, of course, give him oily massages, he improved quite a bit. So he was able to start watching the kids again. And of course, perfect timing, like we were running out of daycare money. It was just in time. Universe thinks about you sometimes when you need it most. So about 3 weeks ago, he finally felt so good that he was able to get himself a part-time job in the evenings, and that helped him drastically. He was kind of starting to feel depressed, so getting out and doing something and escaping from that chaos was awesome for him. But meanwhile, obviously our schedule is kind of crazy. We have, I work all day. I get up super early so that I can, most of the time I'm away from the house. The kids are sleeping early in the morning, and then I work, I come home. I've been taking the bus, that's been helping. I've been getting some time to work on stuff on the bus, so that helps. But I take the bus, get home, then I have about 30 minutes. Husband goes to work, and I have to pick up all the chaos that happened during the day and make dinner and get it ready so when he gets home from work, we have that ready, and then get bath time in the bed. And by the time we get really any time, it's like 10:30, 11 at night. So we have to be really organized, and you have to have support when you have a crazy, busy, hectic schedule. And I know I'm not the only one out there. So the first thing that really helped me get my family's support early with the business is kind of the first step in general for everyone, is just finding solutions to our own pain points. Hubby really didn't want to be a pill popper like the rest of his family. His family has degenerative disc disease too, so they also have a lot of pain, and they take a lot of hydrocodone and all that stuff, and it's really not good for your body forever and ever to take that stuff. And he's seen that and watched that, and so he wanted something different. So we found oils that helped. He uses the Cool Azul, the Deep Relief, and the morphine balm roller, of course. And then he works out, so he strengthens all the muscles, so we're being smart health-wise that way. My son and husband are also really sensitive to gluten. Turns out I think I might be too. All this genetic fun stuff we figure out. So we switched to gluten-free stuff and then started adding in einkorn wheat, of course, to see if we could tolerate it. And we totally could. We switched out little by little, and then we fully can have even just 100% einkorn. So that's really awesome for him to see how big of a difference real stuff makes. So it helps get on board when they trust the stuff that you're using. So he didn't necessarily think I might have had time for the business, but he totally believed in our products, and that's a huge first step. So I recommend just figuring out, what your family has needs for, and sometimes you're looking at symptoms to kind of figure out what you can support, and then once you get that part healthy, you don't have those issues that you're chasing anymore. You're just keeping yourself healthy. And they'll totally recognize that after a while. So he actually started sharing stuff with his friends. I overhear him playing video games, and he'll talk to his buddies about what he's using oil-wise. Like, oh, I go put my Cool Azul pain cream on. And it's funny hearing him talk about oils when he's playing video games, all macho man video game, oiling it up. But yeah, find pain points and help it out. on his great days, he tells me how much he loves me for helping keep the family healthy. So that's an awesome first step. Then really, since we're so chaotic, we also have to make sure we keep our family schedule pretty organized so that we are making sure we're actually doing the right things. Like if I want him to support me, I have to make sure that I'm supporting him too. And I can't just assume that I'm supporting him on the right things. We have to actually have conversations and figure out what those are, because we usually don't assume the right things. I was kind of assuming that my husband was needing help with things like heavy lifting, like mowing the lawn, like heavy kind of hard work kind of things, and like bending down repeatedly to help the kids pick up their toys, and working as many hours extra in Young Living so that I could earn enough money so keep the stress off of him to have to go back to work. But that's not really what he expected, and it's not what he wanted. So eventually we had an argument where we were having to, really figure out what we actually really needed. He was feeling emasculated, not doing yard work and having me do so much other stuff. So he really wanted me just to take the kids out so he could do stuff in peace. He was actually, the biggest part was really he was angry that I was just so exhausted from working myself so hard, because that meant I was too tired or busy to give him the physical affection he needed, which is a big piece for a lot of men. Like love languages, for me, I was thinking I'm more of getting things done and, acts of service. He's definitely more of the physical touch, and being so exhausted, I just didn't have the energy for that. So just having these awesome conversations, you figure out those things, and that really helps get down to the bottom of things. There was actually a big problem. I had no idea. He thought that because I was spending so much time on oil stuff, he confided in me. He thought I was cheating on him because I was so absent, because I was being so busy talking to friends and talking to people about oily kind of stuff rather than hanging out and doing stuff with him. And that was definitely a big blow. Like, wow, I did not realize I was spending that much time. And it really wasn't that I was spending that much time. It was more or less that I was kind of spending that much time in secret in a way. So that kind of leads to really the most important part of getting support, is being fully honest about everything. I would be running errands or going to the bathroom to hide that I was spending so much time doing oil things. Like I'll go send texts and make posts for events, and in secret basically, because I didn't think he wanted me to spend so much time on it, so I just didn't tell him about it. So I would mention that I was going to help host an event, but I didn't mention that, how much help I was actually going to need from him to do that. So he'd agree with me participating, so I thought I was being open telling him about it, but I didn't really explain all that I needed. So really, he just needed to know straight up that I needed his help, and that, he didn't need to be misled by me saying, oh, it'll be fine, it won't be too bad. And that's not what he needed to hear. He needed to hear that I just need you to help me do this, and I had to be really honest about how I referred to what I was doing too. Like instead of saying, I need to do this for oils, or I need to do this because of my oil event, instead of saying I have to do this, I had to learn to say I want to do this. Language is so super important, because he told me that he thought that because of the way I was talking about what I had to do, he said it made it sound like someone else was forcing me to do stuff that I didn't want to do, and that they were taking advantage of me. And what spouse in the right mind is going to support someone that's, being taken advantage of and doing things they don't want to do, especially when you have limited time? So I had to be really mindful to start using, the right kind of language. It's really important. In general anyways, not just to get someone's support, but when you remember that you're doing this because you enjoy doing this, that you enjoy helping people, it makes a huge difference in your attitude and other people's attitudes that you need support from. So I needed to make sure to tell him that I enjoy this, and that it means the world to me that he's supporting me with my passion, and that he's so open-minded to help me when I tell him stuff like that. When I actually tell him that I'm so happy that he's help me follow my passions, then he'll actually help me do that. And then I need to make sure, of course, I'm actually staying true to my passions, because your spouse and people that are important to you can see right through you when you're being fake. So if you're spending all your time doing ads, something that's maybe not your personality type, or you're just busting your butt to clean up certain spots to make it look spotless for a video, and it's really not you. I mean, I'm a mom to 2 kids. I work. I have a husband with chronic pain. Of course, our house is trash half the time. So it's totally fake for that to be going on. So you can see the negative energy behind the kind of demands you put on yourself for doing something, rather than just being true to yourself and showing straight up what it's like to do this in your actual life. So just stay true to yourself, be positive about it, so that it's real and they understand that you're doing it because you enjoy doing it, not because you're forced to do it by anybody but your own want to do it. We have to, another thing is to come up with a schedule, really, to make sure that we're, making the most of the time that we actually do have, since we're busy. We're all busy people, so it's really helpful to find time to make everything work. When he went back to work a few weeks ago, we were forced to take a hard look at our actual schedules and figure out what we had going on and what we had time for and what we didn't. So we got one of those large desk calendars, like those plotters, I think they call them. And we hung it on our wall near our kitchen and where the kids have snack and TV spots. So it's kind of our main command center. We write everything on there. Like, we write mommy's oil party and daddy's movie night and football night, and every Tuesday he has off from work. So, one Tuesday I'll have something that I do, and one Tuesday he'll have something to do. We write it out so it's a visual representation of what we're doing. Because you don't always think about all the things that you do. You think that you're doing more, your spouse is doing more, and it becomes like you're like, oh, I never get to do anything. Or, he says, I never get to do anything. You're doing all this stuff. But when you see it all on there, you realize how much you're actually both doing. And when you realize you're not doing anything, it opens your mind. You're like, okay, I should really be getting out and doing something with my friends so I'm not hermiting myself. And vice versa. You can help your spouse if they're not doing anything and they need to be doing something. You can help them do something too. It's helpful all around. There's my daughter. She said, hi. Hi, my 2-year-old. Family life, we have to include them. And that kind of brings me to my last point is getting your whole family support. So if you have kids, you got to get your kids support too. Like my pretty girl here. You have to remember to listen to the requests to play with them and watch TV with them. And make sure you're happy about it. If you're going to be playing with them, don't be huffy and don't have a bad attitude about it. They pick up on this negativity that you feel like it's a time burden. It's okay to tell them when you have things you have to do. Like, mommy has to help someone with their tummy ache right now, but I'll help you build a tower when I'm done. There's my pretty girl. She likes this. But that's part of it. They like to help too. So, let them help. They may not be awesome at helping all the time, but they really like to do it. And the more you let them help, the better they get at it. And the more fun they have doing things with you for anything in general, including your oils, Mommy, the more they're going to want to do it, the more they're going to be okay with you doing it. Yeah, are those pretty glasses?
Yeah, I like your glasses.
Yeah, I like your glasses too.
Yeah.
But yeah, remember, be honest to your spouse. Be honest to your kiddos. If you tell them you're going to do something with them or for them, just make sure you actually do it and keep track of it. So really, we all have crazy times, but the biggest things for me, finding our pain points, being true and honest and discussing stuff, truly support each other. If you support your husband or your wife or whoever's important to you, they're more likely to support you too. Lead by example, and speak in positives. Talk about how much you enjoy doing things, and not that it's a burden on you. They like to support you when you're doing things you enjoy. So let them see your passion, so they want to be part of it. And I'm sure there's more, but this is what I've come up with so far. We're always learning, so I still have a lot to learn too. All right. Let's say bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. But yeah, just be honest, be truthful, try to be organized in your chaotic craziness, be true to your passion, support each other, and even when you're in crazy, chaotic times, you'll still find some successes. And it's alright, we have ups and downs, but make the most of what you got. Bye, guys.